Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah, brother. This is Job 15 and 21. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloyim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that's scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Omawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, just wanted to remind brothers, to stay diligent and just keep pushing, all right, because you got Sleezy E's that's constantly messing with the views and shadow banning a lot of brothers. And I picked up on it not too long ago with my channel, because here it is. I will do a video on it, and it depends on the topics too, especially when you're going into exposing Esau and exposing a lot about his character, or something that he's going off on. All right, he likes to try to shadow ban, especially when you go into books. Every time I picked it up on one of my videos when I was using a particular book all the time, that it will show right after I'm done or during the lesson, it will show I got maybe like 10 people online, 10 views. And then when I'm done, it showed no views. And then it'll show that I have 10 views and maybe 6 likes. And then the next day, when you look at the video posted up on your channel, it'll say 0 views. So I started realizing that, which I already knew he always did that, what I'm saying, but he's doing it more and more, so it might be able to discourage brothers. It might be able to have brothers thinking like they're not being watched, which at the end of the day is not about any type of views or anything, because we're doing this for our salvation. We're doing this for Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, you see. And at the end of the day, sometimes we just got to prophesy to the wind, as the scriptures say, So sometimes we might just be literally talking to ourselves, but you don't get discouraged off these things, because it's all about Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. It's about bringing out this word. You see, you are being recorded by the heavens. The angels are constantly watching the work that you do, you see. So you have nothing to worry about, okay? You just got to keep pushing this word and sincerity and the truth, all right, knowing that you're doing the work of the Lord. All right, so again, let me read this again in Job, okay, 15. Oh, Salakia. I just lost it. All right, Job 15 and 21. A dreadful sound is in his ears, all right? And that's why he does things like this, because this is a dreadful sound to his ears. Everything that he's hearing, all right, of us exposing him, all right? He don't want to, he don't like to hear about it. All right, you got to understand, Esau is constantly tearing his hair out. All right, when we're constantly bringing out the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai upon them. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's grab this in Wisdom of Solomon. I believe it's the 8th chapter. Give me 1 second. Speaks about how maybe it's the 9th chapter. It speaks about how the kings of the earth, right? They're afraid when we speak the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. Let me see if I find it. I know it's in Wisdom of Solomon. Give me 1 second. Might be in the 15th chapter. Hold on, I can't find it right now. This is let me grab it like this. Here it goes. This is Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 15. I knew it was around there. So it says, horrible tyrants shall be afraid when they do but hear of me. I shall be found good among the multitude and valiant in war. You see, so horrible tyrants, all right, these kings of the earth, these are all tyrants, man. All right, they are all afraid when they hear the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, when they hear the wisdom that we speak. All right. So this is another reason why they do the things that they do. All right, by trying to shadow ban brothers. And what is shadow ban? Shadow banning is like, here it is, you'll put out videos, you know, you'll go live, but people are not receiving the notifications, you know, the followers that you have. All right. And I can attest to that too, because there's, you know, my wife, I'll ask her, did my video come up? Or I ask my sister, because she's in the truth too, and they'll tell me, nah, the video hasn't come up. And I'm like, damn, I just did a whole video. I just did 2-3 videos, and I went live on every single one of them, and they didn't receive the notifications. Okay. Another thing that you get, right, that I've been realizing with brothers will make videos that I follow, brothers that I follow make videos, and I don't receive the notification till 3 days later, you know, and they already had put out a bunch of videos, you know. So these are all little tactics that this devil does, all right, to try to, you know, discourage us, to try to, you know, stop the word from, you know, being in that flow. Because remember, we're constantly doing videos, you know, and the best thing for you to do is do a whole bunch of videos, you know, so they can all be coming out, you know, one by one, right back to back. Okay. Because it doesn't give him enough time for him to, you know, mess with our views, mess with our videos. You know, another thing he does is, let me see if it's, I'll show you real quick. He does your uploading of the videos, all right, are taking even longer now. All right, when you go into, let me see, I did this video last night. Let me see if it's showing it. No, I actually went through. But I did a video last night, right? It was like 2 in the morning when I did this video. Okay. As a matter of fact, it was probably around 11 o'clock I did it. And when I was finished with it, it doesn't just upload right away. It takes hours. I mean, hours for it to upload. Sometimes it'll take a day and a half to upload. It'll show on my end, it's uploaded in my video, in my channel, but on my end, it's showing that it's still uploading with a buffering sign, showing that it's still in the process of being processed. You see? And here it is. You did a whole live. A live shouldn't go through a process stage, because it's already being processed as you're doing the work, as you're doing it. All right, it's already uploading itself. But see, they'll make it seem like if you just did a uploaded video, a pre-recorded video, and now you're uploading it to your channel. You see, so that's why a lot of brothers are receiving their these videos maybe a day and a half later. You know, so again, it's just something that Esau continually keeps doing. All right, so let's grab this precept. This is Revelations, okay, 11. And this is going to be something quick. All right. This is 11 and 8. I mean, 11 and 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them. And who's it speaking of? It's speaking of the elect, the men that are bringing out this word. All right. The spirit of life has, you know, entered into each and one of us. Okay. And it says, and they stood upon their feet, you know, going on these highways and hedges, standing up against the workers of iniquity. All right. Against the evildoers. A great fear fell upon them which saw them. Okay. And that's them going into, you know, these and that's the scriptures going into these heathens. All right. Sleezy, hating, and great fear falling upon them from us standing up against the workers of iniquity. You see, so they try to, this is why they want to cut off the internet. All right, because this word is going out throughout the 4 corners of the earth. And the one thing that they're trying to stop, all right, remember the scriptures say that this gospel shall be preached throughout the 4 corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. All right, so one thing that they're trying to stop is us from actually preaching the word. You know, they don't want this word to go to everybody's ears. All right, because at the end of the day, every ear is going to hear this word, man, whether they like it or not. All right, every Israelite is definitely going to hear this word. All right, but also the word is being preached onto the heathens because this is their judgment. See, it is being preached onto the Israelites for their salvation, but to these heathens is being preached onto their judgment. So once every single ear has heard this word that's alive, all right, that end is going to come right after that. You see? So let's grab this, all right, and I pretty much close it out. All right. Also going into, not being discouraged, all right, because there are some brothers that'll get, not so many views, not so many, uh, people subscribed to their channel. All right, but that's all good because again, this is for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and nobody else. All right, we're not doing it, to look good and for vainglory. Okay, we're all doing it, because we are one body in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so even the weakest member, all right, is the most important member. Okay, and at the end of the day, we all receive a penny. It doesn't matter how much work you had put in, all right, how much years you've been putting in. Somebody that just comes in today, all right, and let's say this shit ends tomorrow. That one day of work that he did, all right, is gonna be the same exact. It's gonna be how can I say it? It's going to be worth the same amount as the person that basically put in 30 years of work. That's what it means that we all receive a penny. It's about the sincerity and truth. It's about you pushing that word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and believing. All right, but let me grab this. This is 1 Corinthians 12, and then I'll pretty much close this out. It says, for as the body is one, matter of fact, let me go up. Let me grab it from 4. It says, now there are diversities of gifts, but the same spirit. All right, that's exactly what we are. We're all in the same spirit. We're all in one accord. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Yahweh Shai. All right, we all serve the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but is the same power which worketh all in all. All right, because at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that works through us. All right, it's not of ourselves, it's of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the same and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Mashiach. You see, so we're all one body, man. All right, is many of us, and we all have diversities of different gifts. All right, but it's all coming from on high. It's all coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see, it says, and at the end of the day, some might be stronger in one thing. All right, and somebody else might be weaker in another, but because we're all in one body, all right, we pick up each other. You know what I'm saying? Well, one lacks, another man is stronger in, and it picks you up in that category. Okay, and you might be stronger than another brother in the category. He might be weaker, but because we're the same body, all right, it's all going to balance itself out because the Lord is about balance, right? It says, for by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles. All right, and that's not speaking about Gentile nations. All right, this is speaking of Israelite foreigners. All right, those that fell into heathenistic customs. Okay, whether we be bound or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. Okay, and our bodies like that. You see, our bodies just is one full body, but it has different parts in the body, right? You got fingers, you got arms, you got legs, you know, you got your head. So it's the same thing with our this body of Yahweh Shai. Okay, we are all one piece of the body of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, and if the ear shall say, Salakia, if the foot shall say, shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now has Yahweh set the members, every one of them in the body, as it has pleased him. You see, so the Lord has you in the positions that he has you because that's what pleases him, you see, and that's what he found you worthy to be at the end of the day. He feels comfortable having you in that position for a reason. You see, this is why you can't be one that, you know, you got certain brothers that are, you know, they'll get upset, you know, oh man, I wish I was doing that better, or you know, I wish I had knowledge like this one, or I wish I could maybe bring it out like the apostles. You know, you can't do that, man, because you were given the measure of faith according to what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has given you. So that's why you have to, you know, push, all right, according to the measure of faith you were given. You see, at the end of the day, you have to just focus on. That's why I've heard like the elders say, the brother from the Dallas camp, Yashawamba, and I forgot the other one. I think his name is Ariala. All right, Salaki if it's not. But I follow him all the time. And I think his page is GMS Psalms 144, Psalms for Thought. All right. That's what it is. And he said that one time, and it always stuck with me. You know, at the end of the day, damn, I just lost my train of thought thinking about his name. Lord willing to come back to me. But oh, that's what he said. So the water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Not to so much focus on your weaknesses, but focus on your strengths. All right. Yeah, do we want to be, you know, strengthened in our weaknesses? You know, yeah, you pray for these things at the end of the day, but you can't focus so much on your weaknesses, because see, that could stray you away from your actual strengths, you know. So you have to always continue, you know, to push in the strongest part that you have, you know, because that's what's going to keep you flowing. That's what's going to keep you going. And then eventually, if it be the Lord's will, you know, he's going to increase you in that weakness. And again, and if he doesn't, all right, remember, we are all one body. So being in that one body, all right, we're all going to pick each other up where we lack and where we are weak at, you see, and that's the point of it. So it says, going back to 12 and 17, it says, if the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now has Yahweh set the members, every one of them in the body, as it has pleased him. And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body. The eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. You see, so the ones that are the most weakest, the ones that are the most feeble, all right, are necessary at the end of the day, man. All right, because it's important. We cannot, if we're one body, we have to function all in one. Okay, so if one is off, we're all off. You see, if one is on, if we're all on, then the whole body's going to be good. You see, so it says, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our comely parts have more abundant comeliness. All right, and that's even something that we have to do as a body, you know, because I've seen it within the, you know, the body of Israel. You know, some people, you know, exalt themselves higher than the other, or don't want to deal with somebody because, you know, they're at a weaker level. All right, and that's wicked as hell if you're thinking like that at the end of the day, man. All right, every single one of us, you know, pushing this word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and sincerity and truth. All right. We need to find ways to, you know, stick together more and more, because this is all we have. You see, at the end of the day, all right, the Lord wants us to be, you know, be together in one accord. All right. And we're all brethren. All right. As long as we're doing the work of the Lord in sincerity and truth, calling on the proper names, have the sound doctrine. All right. It don't matter about, well, you know, what name is in front of you. It don't matter what, you know, camp you're from. Okay. Which, you know, we always tell you to watch out for these other camps, because they're going off on the doctrine, you see. But there's going to be people, all right, that come from these other camps, all right, that are going to come in sincerity and in truth. All right. So, you know, it's not about the name. It's about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's about the doctrine that the Lord has given us. As long as we come in the correct names, we come in sound doctrine and in the right doctrine, right? All right. And we're all preaching the same thing. All right. Preaching, you know, the microchip is the RFID chip. All right. The mark of the beast. World War III is coming. Jacob's trouble's coming. Then we shall all be sticking together. All right. Now, we don't do all this crazy unity camp. All right. But through the spirit, we're all in unity. You know what I'm saying? So we have to constantly look out for each other, you know, recognize the state of our flocks. Okay. Make sure brothers is good. Reach out to brothers and make sure they're good, because that's what the Lord wants to see. You see, he wants to see the brotherhood. The most important thing is the brotherhood. Okay. You have to let brotherhood continue. Okay. So let me grab, as a matter of fact. Actually, let me continue on. It says in let's grab it from 22 again. It says, nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Yahweh has tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked. You see? So let's grab that a little bit up from NLT, right? 22. It says, in fact, some parts of the body that seem weakest and least important are actually the most necessary. And the parts we regard are less honorable are those we clothe with the greatest care. So we carefully protect those parts that should not be seen, while the more honorable parts do not require this special care. So Yahweh has put the body together such that extra honor and care are given to those parts that have less dignity. You see? So it's important to continue to, you know, uplift brothers, all right, and encourage brothers to keep doing the work, man. Keep doing their thing. All right. Don't be discouraged when you ain't got views, you know, when you ain't got all these likes. Okay. When you think nobody's watching, remember, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is watching. He's recording everything. All right. And best believe it's going to get to the ears of those that need to hear it. You see, those that are of the elect, all right, when they speak, they're going to end up speaking some way, one way or another, to those that are of the elect. Okay. The Lord works in mysterious ways, man. So believe it or not, it's going to get to who needs to hear it. Right. It says 25, that there should be no schisms in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it, or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now we are the body of Hamashiach, and members in particular. And Yahweh has set some in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after the miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. You see, it says, are all apostles, are all prophets, are all teachers, are all workers of miracles, having all the gifts of healing, do all speak with tongues, do all interpret, but covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way. You see? So at the end of the day, whatever was the gift that was given to you, All right, going back to what I said earlier, whatever is the strongest part, all right, keep pushing in the strongest and don't worry so much about the weakness. And within due time, your weaknesses, all right, will be, encouraged. All right, the Lord is going to, bless you in those weaknesses when the time comes. And if he ever doesn't, all right, it's okay, because that's why we're a body. All right, we're going to pick up wherever brothers lack. Okay, and we'll all come together through the spirit at the end of the day, because it's all about who? It's about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. It's not about us. Okay. So, that's just something I wanted to share through the spirit, which I've been peeping through, the channels, brothers' channels, through my channels. Esau definitely messing with the views, definitely shadow banning people at the end of the day. But all we could do is just keep pushing. All right. There's a reason why he messing with views and shadow banning brothers, because we're at the end of this thing. All right. It's a dreadful ears to his. It's a dreadful sound to his ears. Every time we speak the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, this devil hate that another person is speaking on it, that another brother woke up or another sister woke up. You see, so it's just showing that we're doing the job of Hamashiach, man, and that's what the Lord wants us to do. He wants us to feed the sheep. He wants us to continue to keep pushing. All right, he wants you to wake up his elect and seal them. That's all it's about. Once everything is sealed, this place is done for. Everything is going to fall apart. All right, which we're, constantly waiting for in sincerity and the truth now. That's the patience and the faith of the saints, waiting for this thing to happen, But at the same time, while we're waiting for this thing to happen, all right, we have to make sure that we're all doing our jobs, all right, and we're all picking each other up and encouraging each other. You know what I'm saying? Iron sharpeneth iron, as the scriptures say, So we have to sharpen each other up at all times. We have to make sure that our state of our flocks are good. Keep reaching out to brothers, make sure everything is all good, And as a matter of fact, I'll leave you with this one more. All right, because when you see one straying off, all right, the brotherhood is supposed to make sure everything is good. All right. Let me grab this. This is Matthew. I think it's one. This is Matthew 18 and 12, and it says, let me see, let's take it up one. It says, how think ye, if a man have 100 sheep and one of them be gone astray, does he not leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. All right. So, you see one of our brothers going astray, you got to make sure that he good. You got to put him back in line, through the spirit. And, if he comes back, all right, what ends up happening is a rejoice, because that means he's of the elect, because sometimes you have people that just stray away and then they were never part of the elect. They were once part of that body. All right. But hey, they ended up, going back into the world, whatever. All right. Many are called and few are chosen at the end of the day. But you got to always make sure that the state of your flock is good. All right. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So Lord willing that I was edifying. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Barak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom, keep fighting a good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shah, and your sisters continue to learn in silence, watching the true men of the Lord. Keep pushing, stay diligent, constantly being circumspect, redeeming these times because the days is evil. Keep the faith up through the spirit. To water sister Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah. Unto you and your household, also unto you too, brother. Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.